Barguments. 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 Barguments.
Welcome into another exciting edition of Barguments. I am your host, Dan Levy, and with me is a very special guest. She's on the move, so we can only get her down for a little while. She is a Southside Chicago supermodel. You saw her on the Grammys. You see her everywhere, and she's going to keep exploding, so watch out for her. Ladies and gentlemen, Sharaun. Thanks for jumping on the Barguments stage. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm feeling magical, feeling good, feeling abundant. Can't complain at all.
Now, if everybody out there, if you go ahead and you rewatch some highlights of the Grammys, watch Beyonce win the album of the year, watch so many things, you will see, Sharaun, you were the actual trophy presenter supermodel. That is unbelievable in its own right. I didn't even know that was like a thing to be like selected for, but you were selected by music producers and all kinds of people that you would come out there for all these trophies. That is unreal.
I know. Pretty phenomenal. I'm so grateful for that. To be the official trophy presenter for the Grammys is like, what? And I think I underestimated the position initially going into it because, typically when you think about the presenters, like they kind of fade into the background.
Right.
And I didn't know exactly how much I would be shown. So when I watched it back, I was like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Like, yeah, it's a part of the show. They wanted to do something different. And I'm glad that they chose me for that.
Let's dive just a little bit into your background a little bit, because a lot of people from the south side of Chicago, it's not the greatest of areas, and not a lot of people find their ways into doing this stuff that you have really done, and you have exploded. Give us a brief synopsis of the path that you took, because I teach at local schools in and around Chicago. I do stuff at Columbia College, and I know those people they're grinders. They are working hard, and everybody, even for me, is just looking for a path. What was your path to go from that to where you are right now? How did you do what you did?
Yeah, as I get into that correction, South Side of Chicago is a great place. It is a good place.
It is.
We have a lot of ideas and stuff that like South Side Chicago is bad and it's this. And
no, it's starting to come into a great light. You're right. I corrected. I stand.
Yeah, it's full of rich culture, beautiful people, beautiful history here, which is one of the reasons I'm so glad to be back. So my journey started, again, Southside Chicago, born into a single parent household, raised by a beautiful mother. Life wasn't always, the easiest. She, worked multiple jobs to make ends meet. I grew up always I had a million things I wanted to do. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to be a host. I wanted to be an author, all of these things.
That's me right now. To be honest, that's me right now. I have like 9 things I still want to do, and I'm already a grown-up, so I'm with you. I feel every part of that.
Yes, a multifaceted person and being. And isn't it cool that we can kind of do all of those things? Like I'm doing all of them in different ways.
I was just telling my wife the other day, I just wish I had like Kevin Hart's life where I could just do everything. That guy could he's an actor, he's an owner, he's this and that. I'm like, I'm the same kind of person. I just don't have the capital or the means of it. But I feel like that's where my brain and that's where my career should be going.
That part, right?
Yes.
Team. So yeah, I just started out that I always wanted to model, but I didn't know how. Like, how do you
right.
modeling? How do you do that? The only thing that I knew was America's Next Top Model. That would be our family show. We would sit on the couch and watch it every Wednesday with Tyra Banks. One of the biggest reality TV competition shows of like in 2000.
21st century, the 21st century, I would say so. Real quick, before you actually did that, were you going to any kind of modeling school? Were you doing any kind of acting? Is there any kind of, you just went for it?
Yeah, so I really had no experience prior to that. I did some like little local shows at like the local boutique fashion bug and stuff.
Right.
But, and I also like took senior photos, and the Life Touch, the company was like, oh my gosh, these are really great. Can you come and model for us? So I did something like that, but I had no experience beforehand. I did go to performing arts school, Curie Metropolitan, and it's great because they really nurture the gifts and stuff of artists. So we got to choose a major in high school. So I was actually a broadcast journalism.
Very good.
Major. I was the school's news anchor.
I can see that.
And host. So I did do that. I was also a dancer, and I did some, did plays and stuff like that, but no real modeling experience. No.
When you were going, all right, I'm seeing this show, I want to be on it. Was everybody telling you like, hey, you could win this, or was it one of those things where you're like, I'm just doing it. I don't know how far I'm going to go. I'm going for it.
Yeah, I'm the type of person where once I put my mind to something, like you can't tell me otherwise. And
Cool.
and my mother really began to nurture that in me. She started calling me America's Next Top Model around the house. I started, I wasn't always the most confident person, so I knew I had to build up that confidence and that self-esteem. So I actually also use like affirmations and just I've always been immersed in the wellness industry, so meditation and things of that sort to really visualize what I was wanting and to program my mind for that success to win. So I was at home all the time. I am America's Next Top Model. I am America's Next Top Model. I got this. And I would go telling people in school and stuff, yep, one day I'm going to be on America's Next Top Model and I'm going to be a model. Like, this is something
You got to do it, and you got to say it out loud, and you got to mean it. Is there a quote real quick that you that hits really well for you whenever you're kind of feeling like I can use something to bring me back to focus? Is there a quote? Is there a piece of advice? What was something that kind of still strikes a chord with you?
Yeah, there's so much. And a lot of times what I'll do, I just kind of like go into meditation and quiet my mind, and things will different, exactly like what I need to hear will come. So those things might be like, stay ready so you never have to get ready, right? It'll be things like everything is happening for my good. All things are working out for my good. It'll be things like, what's for me is for me and nobody can take that away from me. So those are just kind of a few quick things, but the list goes on, and they just kind of come intuitively, and it's exactly what I need. And I'll kind of meditate on that. I'm living in my highest timeline every single morning. That's something that I still do to this day.
Awesome.
I wake up, whether it's in front of the red light therapy or just in my own little sacred space in my room. I'm making declarations. I'm declaring and decreeing things over my life. Like, this is how my day's going to be. This is what's going to happen. I'm visualizing it. I'm embodying it. And I really think that's the key to, again, making your dreams a reality.
The one that I always hear that everybody tells me, and I think it's the best one, and it's the most frustrating of all of them, is you are where you're supposed to be. And that one keeps me up at night, because you're sitting there going like, man, I want to be here, I want to be there. And everyone's like, you are where you're supposed to be. The missed opportunities, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be here. And I'm like, I can't digest that one, but I have to.
I know, it's the gratitude factor.
Yes.
Getting in a state of gratitude, what we focus on expands. So if we're focusing on lack or what we don't have, you're going to experience more of that. Your mind is just marinating around that. And it's going to put you in a less happy state. But if I'm like focusing on the things that are going great, one thing that I started doing more too is just celebrating myself. Every tiny little win. Like,
I agree.
Just be like, good job, Dan. And me and my partner do that a lot as well. Just like, good job, great job doing this, great job doing that. Celebrate everything. Because it's the brick by brick, all the things like coming together creates the whole big dream. And, no matter where we are in our journey, we're on the journey. And
yes,
we win.
I try not to fester on losses or wins very much. So if I get rejected, all right, I'm giving myself the allowance for a day. I can feel that rejection for a day, and then tomorrow it's another day. And same with the win. I will feel that win for the day, and then tomorrow, let's get the next one. So you go and you're doing the reality TV thing. Tell me about that experience, because I've known a lot of people that have done some reality TV. I know a lot of people that have done some cooking shows, and we've had people on here that have done reality television shows. What was that experience like for you, especially because it's a business, it's a show, and it's something that there's entertainment value in. It's not exactly a real kind of contest where it's whoever makes for the best TV, whoever makes for the best kind of look, and there's politics that goes into that stuff too. You got to make sure you're rubbing the right shoulders. How was that experience for you?
So interestingly enough, I did not realize, it didn't click. I did not know going into it that, this is a reality TV show. It's not all real. There is politics involved. Yeah. Remember, I was fresh out of high school. I left in the middle of my senior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
America's Next Top Model. I didn't go to a graduation, didn't go to a prom or anything like that. I was also very green when it came to green. No pun intended.
I was going to say the outfit we chose for today, very nice.
Thank you. When it came to just the world and life, I lived in my neighborhood and in my family, and that's all I knew. So going into it, it was very surreal, very exciting. Again, imagine girl from the south side of Chicago. It was my first time kind of like really leaving on my own.
Yeah.
and you're in like what I was speaking happened. Like, wow, what? And then here you are standing in front of Tyra Banks and all of the judges, panel, and literally inside of the TV screen. It was so surreal. It was a little girl's dream. I will never forget that moment. Yet it was also very hard as hell.
I can only imagine. And to be honest, I apologize. I don't remember the season. It's been so long ago. But what I will ask you, what were the other contestants cool? Because I know on a lot of these shows, first and foremost, if you're ever on any kind of reality television show, it is always, they're setting you up, and everybody knows that there's kind of like you have to have a little bit of an edge to you to keep the entertainment portion going. But I also know, being around models and other people in just my career, it's a very, very, very harsh knit group where, I mean, people do not get along. The competition is the competition at all times, and there is always some sort of strife. Could you feel that on the show too? Was it pretty thick, or was it one of those situations where, you know what, we're all on television, we're all just happy to be here kind of a deal?
Yeah. Actually, when you put models together and women together, it's not as catty and divisive as they may like it to seem. A lot of the catty and
That's
divisive.
disappointing. Don't ruin it for me. I'm just kidding.
I'm a girl's girl.
I was saying, I've watched too many movies. I watched too many TV shows where they're going at it. Go on. I'm just kidding.
Deprogram is not real.
I'll select, I'll delete. Gotcha. Control, I'll delete.
And so it's not to say that those things don't exist. Obviously they do. I'm not, obviously those things exist. However, that wasn't my experience in its entirety. I actually, connected with a lot of people, and it wasn't super catty. And don't get me wrong, there were a couple girls that would stay to themselves, and you don't know what they're kind of chatting and stuff about.
Yes.
But it wasn't super catty. Now, where the cattiness and different stuff came in, that is the producers kind of like manipulating things behind the scenes and pushing things to go a certain way. So even when it came to myself, I was told very early on, like basically we were told who we were cast, who we needed to be, but in a subtle way. They
Gotcha.
set us down with we had to take a lot of tests and like background stuff where they really got in our brain and got to get to know us. And we sat with a therapist, and that therapist was supposed to be like kind of counseling us, but what they were doing was telling us like our character. So for me, it was like, you're very confident. You need to, you have the tendency to be more reserved, which is true. They were like, you got to be in front of the camera all the time. Make sure you're the first one there. Make sure you're this, all of this stuff Tyra loves. The camera shrinks you. So you got to be bigger with your everything, with your movements. So that's what I did. And then
wow. So you were learning on the spot. That's rough.
Yeah.
That is rough, because I've like I said, I've been in radio and in voiceover so long in my life that I've been so green going into things. I'm like, man, I'm so glad nobody heard or saw what that was early in my career. And you are on television going through that. That's even harder.
No, people, that is like,
that's hard.
And then it lives there. And then people, again, what you see is not always what you get. And we know that a little bit more now. But back in the day when that show just came out, people thought everything was real.
Yeah.
So just imagine having the whole world think that you're a certain way, and deep down, like that's not me. That's not true.
But you got to play it. You got to play it. You got to play that part.
You know what? But I did it because, it's hard when, for a lot of Black women, especially, like we get the kind of like, the sassy or the saucy or the, we get, typecasted in those
sure
ways. You don't want to be known for that, shout out to, the people who have kind of taken that on. And I wish I would have like kind of owned it a little bit more. But that's not who I was. And actually that made it harder for me to even break into the industry. And so I mentioned that also to say, since we were talking about the cattiness as well, like, so those are some of the things that behind the scenes are kind of like pushed. And so also whenever you're doing interviews, you have to say something like positive and negative about someone. And oftentimes you say, all right, now say it sweet. Okay, now say it sassy. Now say it like this. And I'm thinking, as a young 18-year-old girl, I'm showcasing my acting abilities.
Oh,
no. Them ammo to make me to whoever.
Yeah, you're setting up for the next episode. I get it. As far as Tyra Banks is concerned, how was that? Do you still have a relationship with her? Is that like now a peer of yours? Is she somebody who kind of just faded out once that happened, or is she still kind of like somebody you can maybe kind of reach out to about certain things?
Yeah, I wish I could say that I still had her as a mentor, could reach out to her, had that level of connection with her. Unfortunately, after America's Next Top Model, that was kind of the end of that relationship. Yeah, I did do went on the Tyra Banks show afterwards as well. But other than that, yeah, that was the end of that relationship, unfortunately. But Tyra, we would love to chat with you or get any advice or anything. But yeah, it kind of ended after that.
That's okay. That's okay. I think something, like I said, so you are where you're supposed to be, and not everybody's supposed to be around you. So I understand it. So after you become the America's Top Model, what happens after that? Is it just you get the agency? Is it gig after gig after gig? Or is this, okay, this is where the real grind starts?
Yeah, it's where the real grind started. So I did not win my season. I was a finalist on my season, but I did not win. So once I got eliminated, and again, the funny thing is that I got eliminated for the things that they told me to do. So
oh, man. That's television. That's television.
Yeah. They told me I was overconfident and all these different things. I was like, y'all told me to be this way. Like, I was so confused. So again, coming off America's Next Top Model, and you think that the phone is about to be blowing up and ringing and calling, and that's what they tell you. My phone was dry. No one was calling. No one was contacting me. I had turned down all the universities I had been accepted to and stuff to for this career that just never was. It wasn't happening. So I like you were talking about earlier, how you kind of give your sad moments a timeline. So I actually gave myself a pretty long little timeline because it was a lot to heal through with that. It was a very traumatic experience, and I went into a mild depression afterwards. I bet. I was like, after like a month, I was like, all right, you good. You need to get up, dust your shoulders off, get back into it. Like, I realized very early on that things aren't just going to happen. You have to go and make them happen. You have to go and create the life that you want. You can't wait for someone else to do that for you. So I hit the ground running, going to agency after agency after agency after agency. My mom spent her last, shout out to supportive mothers and stuff out there. We went out to New York, again, met with 30 different agencies. And they all said, real
quick, did you being on television help you get in the door, or was that hindering?
No. And that's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
People think that after Top Model or something, your career is going to take off, or people sometimes attribute my current success to America's Next Top Model. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth. I actually had to stop telling people that I was on America's Next Top Model before I ever got my first contract.
Wow. You got to take it off the resume. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, especially when you have this stigma too. People don't want to deal with someone who is, a certain way, how they're painting you, or who's cocky or this or that. Even though that wasn't who I was, I still, dealt with people thinking that. So
now you're in a different atmosphere, a stratosphere, if you will. Now you are doing things that are beyond what people could even imagine. And again, you being a trophy girl, what goes into that? And we were talking off air before about just how, most people, they just kind of fade into the background, but you were there pretty much the entire night on the biggest moments.
Yeah, that was so sweet. So what went into that process? So the Grammys, shout out to the Recording Academy and the Grammys, because they're doing phenomenal things. I really, truly believe, and everyone's been saying this, that this was one of the best Grammys to date. And I think a big part of that is because of their commitment to not withdrawing their DEI programs like other companies and stuff are doing, but they pushed forward in that even more. They implemented a lot of new initiatives and things like that to make their wrongs right. They actually issued a public apology, which was beautiful. And so a part of all the things that they were doing, they wanted to kind of make a statement with their trophy presenters, which is where I came in. And they were looking all over and couldn't find anyone that kind of fit what they were looking for. And I'm thankful to a longtime producer that I've worked with over the years. Her name is Susan Koziak. I've worked with her for over 10 years, all of her fashion shows, from dancing to theatrical stuff to, again, modeling, all of her shows I've been a part of. And she was actually close friends with the producers for the Grammys. And so they were like, man, we can't find anyone. We're looking for someone like this, this, and this. And she immediately recommended me, was like, this is your girl. This is who you want. And she put my name forth. I had submitted some videos and did a number of interviews with them and stuff. And then they ended up selecting me. And so I'm truly grateful for that.
Well, not that I don't want to pry in anything of that, of any kind of real personal kind of details, but does something like that, does that pay pretty good? Or is that just really like, hey, it's an exposure thing? You get to be on TV and you get to use this as leverage. Because I know in the business, sometimes things are exposure and sometimes like, hey, this is a payday. Was that kind of like, is that kind of a payday deal or kind of a exposure?
Yeah, so I don't work for exposure. So no, it was definitely a payday. I'm under the SAG-AFTRA union.
Sure.
Actors and entertainers, so all of our contracts kind of fall under that.
Very cool. So you're taken care of.
Yeah, so I'm taken care of. It's not like you're teaching, I just won the lottery, I'm going to buy a house type of thing. No. But
you get a gift card to In-N-Out. Congratulations. That was awesome. That was awesome. I hope you had a good time, and we may even validate your car. That's about it. That's the gigs I get. Even though I am a SAG-AFTRA person, a lot of times like, hey, just get your out of here. Sweet.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I get that.
So when you're back there, when you're with artists, are they approachable? Are they cool? Are they down to talk? Or there's a lot of people that are around them that are saying, you don't get to talk to Beyonce?
No, they were so cool. And so my holding area, my presenter area was also with the stage manager. And so they would come in our dressing room holding area. And that was all of our holding areas. So we would be in there together for a good 5-10 minutes, just chatting, watching whatever was going on. And for the most part, everyone was pretty cool. Everyone was super nice. Everyone was super down to earth. Some people were more quieter than others, more talkative than others, but that's just energy levels, nothing against personality wise, but everyone was cool.
I was going to say they should have all been sufficiently liquored up at some point, so they had to have been sort of nice at some point, I would think. By the time they come to yours, they should be feeling pretty good.
All right. I think they were all pretty sober. But yeah, I had some good times backstage. Miley literally came in the dressing room and was like, hey, what's the tea? I was like, huh? She's like, what's the tea? I was like, I don't know. You sitting in the audience. You tell me what's the tea. What's going on? And we were just chatting up, and she was mad cool. Like, what you see is what you get with her. Very authentic in nature. Me and Taylor Swift were backstage, literally like dancing. I think Charlie XCX was performing or something while we were backstage waiting to go out. And so we were just singing the songs together and dancing backstage. And she was like, who do you want to win? I was like, I hope Beyonce wins. She's like, me too. I was like, oh my gosh, that would be so phenomenal if she was. She was like, I know. I was like, and then you giving her the award. And so we had a little girl moment about that. And we were like, okay, we're manifesting in Beyonce win. Beyonce's gonna win.
Well, that was a full circle moment because of the whole like Kanye West thing. So there was like a lot of things that went into that moment.
I know. And so again, had been a part of that. Like you literally see the picture that was going viral and all the memes being made about it with like me and Taylor like holding hands like, ah!
That's awesome.
And Beyonce's right there giving her speech. And it was such a girls moment. We were just so happy for Beyonce in that moment and so happy to be a part of this. Like, what? This is literally happening. Because, yeah, it was like we didn't know, who was going to win. And so we were with the audience watching it live, just on stage.
That is awesome. That is awesome. All right. So a lot of things now that you've done this, what is next? I mean, you seem to be an entrepreneur. You seem to be somebody that's got her sights set on some newer, cooler things. Is TV the next role for you? Would you want to have your own show? Is there anything you want to forecast out there that you want to kind of go for next? Or is it kind of under the hat, under the wraps?
No, I mean, there's some stuff under wraps, but no, for sure. I told you I started out as a broadcast journalism, mass communications major. I did, a little work here and there on general assignment for NBC back in the day. And so I'm excited to get back into television.
Cool.
I'm excited to get back in television as host, as, media personality. We have, when you look at our hosts nowadays of all the biggest shows, we got the Nick Cannons, the Mario Lopez, and Steve Harvey, and all of them are great and cool and have paved the way. Yet I think the world is ready for some female energy and faces and personality in those faces as well, and for nothing knocking them, but some younger, fresher energy.
I was gonna say I am tired of seeing those faces, so yes, we need new.
So whether it's our Dancing with the Stars and different stuff, or game shows, and one day of course having my own show would be phenomenal, and the dream and the goal of it all. So I'm excited to get back into that even that much more. I also have I'm CEO and founder of the Model Tribe, which is a mentorship community that I've cultivated. started out online and now I'm bringing it in person here in Chicago. We have a new space out of the Water Tower Place on Michigan Avenue.
I love the Water Tower.
Yeah, so that's our new headquarters in partnership with Fashion Bar. And so I'll be hosting a number of events and stuff out of that space. I actually have one coming up on March 9th. It's an advanced runway class and also a beginner's runway class. I love using modeling to help teach people like confidence and self-esteem. So whether you're an aspiring model or just a woman or a girl who wants to build confidence and just learn how to walk the runway and do different things, and that's what those classes are for. So I'm excited about that. That's March 9th at 11 a.m. and 10. And people can find all the information on 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. I'm sorry. And people can find all the information at Sharaun.com or themodeltribe.com. And it's also on Eventbrite. So I'm excited to do that even that much more and continue to build that community here in Chicago. I'm also a motivational speaker. So right after America's Next Top Model, I did kind of own it. And I will say that America's Next Top Model has opened up doors in my speaking career because
that's
now
cool.
when I'm going to different schools or conferences or events, having the, America's Next Top Model attached to your name did help in that regard. So I'll give them credit for that.
Very cool.
So right after America's Next Top Model, I started touring and traveling to different schools and stuff. I started at home here in Chicago. And then when I moved to California, I was traveling all around California speaking and stuff. And so that's something that I've done for a long time and continue to do. And I'm excited to do it even that much more on a larger scale. So yeah, those are just a few of the things that I have going on, and I'm so grateful for. And again, the list goes on because if you remember, when I was a young girl, it was a long list of stuff. So there's so much more in the works. So yeah, I'm super excited about that.
All right, so this is the portion of Barguments where we throw some fun topics your way. There is no correct answer. We just have fun doing these things, and because you are a model and somebody who is definitely in the business of all things fashion, the last 20 years, who is the person that's had the biggest influence on pop culture from a fashion and just overall pop culture? Who's got the most influence the last 20 years, celebrity wise?
Okay, I'm gonna have to give it to my girl Zendaya and her fashion stylist and director La Roche, who is also from Chicago. I think they just changed the game. Zendaya has been consistent in her fashion game since the beginning of time. She's been consistent with honoring a lot of, female Black faces and spaces in the fashion industry or in the industry in general through her fashion, through representing culture and the things that are put together. La Roche, again, starting from Chicago, making his dreams happen, seeing something in Zendaya and them just partnering up, I think is just the epitome of like teamwork makes the dream work. I love their relationship and I love what they've been able to do over the years in fashion. And it's been consistent. Some people try to get in the space, just for different opportunities and stuff, but you can really tell that they love fashion. They're about it. And yeah.
I'm going to argue against you. I'm going to say Kylie Kardashian owns the entire thing. Everything that girl does, everything she puts on, if it's on Instagram, if it's whatever else it is, she has become a billionaire. And she is not as famous as her sister Kim. She has not been that controversial as anybody else. But for some reason, that younger generation owns whatever that girl is. She has a makeup line, billionaire. She does some new kind of, outfit. All of a sudden, that girl has been trending everywhere. I have been surprised. And she even has a sister who's a model, and yet everything that girl is doing, for some reason, she has been more or less out of the spotlight, but for some reason, more influential. I would say that one would be the most. But all is fair in love and war and arguments on this show.
I would give her the beauty. I would give her the beauty industry, not fashion.
Gotcha.
I would say beauty for sure, yeah.
All right, what do you think is the bigger ultimate career flex? Winning an Oscar, winning a Grammy, or getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
The biggest career flex. Okay, so because I'm the official trophy presenter and model for the Grammys, I have to say the Grammys because what's better than a Grammy? Nothing.
That's true.
Tight runner-up would be getting a star because that star lives forever. It's always going to be there, and that's a flex.
I'm with you. First of all, they're all cool. If you ever go to someone's house and they have an authentic, like an Emmy or an Oscar or a Grammy or a Tony Award or even like a VMA like Moon Man, you're still like, whoa, that's That's it. That is pretty cool. I would say the Walk of Fame is just a little bit more because that thing everybody will see forever. After the Grammys and all that, people just say, oh, he won the Grammy, but nobody knows where that trophy is. They said Drake has his like in the girls' bathroom in his house. So, I mean, when you hear stories you like that, you're like, all right, definitely that would be, for me, I would think the Walk of Fame would be a little bit cooler, but it goes either way, I think.
For sure. Even though people just gonna be stepping on your name for forever, but
that's true. And all kinds of stuff. You might be right on that. I never really got a thought about that one. Okay. In terms of the most iconic moment of an award show, which is the bigger one? Kanye West interrupting Taylor Swift, or the Will Smith and Chris Rock?
Ooh. And I saw Will Smith backstage too. Shout out to him.
Is he a nice guy? For everyone I've heard everybody say he's a really nice guy.
He is. He's a really nice guy. Very welcoming. He was actually the first one like, hey, how are you? Like, he was
very cool.
A very open energy and wanting to chat and hang out. So I appreciated that. Man, so probably I still got to say the Kanye with Taylor because I don't know. That's hard.
That's why it's a argument. It's a tough one.
I would say the Kanye and Taylor thing because I'm still conflicted. The conspiracy theorist in me is still conflicted as to whether that was a hoax or not.
Yes. Oh, for both of them. For both. There's a conspiracy theory for both of them. So, I mean, there's you can go in the rabbit holes of both of them if you wanted to.
So I'll say Taylor Kanye situation because what? We still remember that. And
I would say that Taylor and Kanye was probably the more, in an odd way, was the more positive one because they both became super famous after that. Like Taylor Swift was famous, but she became different level famous after that. That actually made her career, and that just pushed Kanye even further because he became more of a the wild card. I would say the Will Smith and the Chris Rock was probably the worst of them. I would say that was the bigger stage, the classier stage, and it was the one person that I thought was flawless was Will Smith, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Now that I'll never not see that with him. But with those two, with Kanye and Taylor, I forget about that until full circle moments when, like you said, you and Taylor are holding hands as Beyonce's winning the trophy. That's a full circle. All right, everything came back. Now, if there's a moment where Will Smith and Chris Rock are holding hands and doing something else, then it'll be a full circle. But I think you witnessed the bridge.
Who knows? Maybe they'll have a movie or something in the future. But the interesting thing is both of them were kind of protecting women in a way or standing
That's true. That's true.
Maybe he's still flawless. He was standing up for his wife. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. That is true. And the last argument for you. You've been all around the world. You're a model. Who's got the best food?
Oh, who's got the best food? I would say Brazil.
Brazil.
I love me some good I love Brazilian food. I love Brazilian steakhouses.
I love the Fogo de Chões and those Brazilian steakhouses. That's my birthday spot. If someone wants to take me to dinner,
every birthday I
yes,
go to Brazilian steakhouse.
I want to flip that little coaster and make it green all day. I love telling those people to stop.
Pig out and stay there for so long. People be surprised that I'm eating. Yep, I'm still eating. Yep, I'm getting my money's worth.
Yes, and if you see that beef rib guy, bring him back over here. I want another look at that rib. Give me that thing. I'm with you.
Right, that bacon wrapped filet.
Oh, the top sirloin. I want to bring those tongs home. I love that place. I love it. I'm with you. I've never been to Brazil, but if all food is like that in Brazil, I would consider moving.
Man, so flavorful, and there's Brazilian steakhouses are just even more grand, and there's food everywhere, and they also do seafood and all kinds. It's so good. It was so good.
Chicago born and raised, South Side representing, supermodel, going to be a TV star, and you have heard and seen her on Barguments. Sharaun, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. Keep up all the great work. You're doing phenomenal.
You as well. And if you get famous and bigger, bring me with you. My final pitch, bring me with you. If you get a TV show, I got a really good voice for those things. This has been Barguments. Thanks again to Sharaun for jumping on with us. We wish her luck. You can find her on all the social media platforms. You can look for her. Is there one in particular that you want to send people to connect with you by any chance?
Sure, it's just my name, Sharaun, Sharaunb as in Brown. Again, Sharaun, Sharaunb as in Brown. That's for TikTok, that's for Instagram, and that's even my website. So just Sharaun.com. And then also, like I said, themodeltribe.com. If you're a model or aspiring model or female wanting to just use modeling to build confidence and self-worth, I'm here for you.
Very cool. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. Connect with her. Once again, my name is Dan Levy. You can find me on social media, BASS on air. And that's pretty much on all the social medias. Don't forget, Monday nights, I am on WGN Radio with John Records Landecker, where we do what's called a food fight, where we discuss and we argue all kinds of different kinds of food combinations. Barguments, the podcast, again, it's now on YouTube as well. So if you want to see what Sharaun looks like, you may be pretty offended about how I look, but she's worth the wait. Then again, you can subscribe, share, tell all your friends about Barguments, and go ahead and click that subscribe and give us a 5-star review. That always makes me smile. Once again, for Sharaun, my name is Dan Levy. This is Barguments. We'll do it again soon. Take care, everybody.